Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefits of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because here on this platform, we talk about everyday issues where we're trying to find logical solutions. But not everyone uses logic. So for that reason, it is called Uncommon Sense. I want to let everybody know I'm currently live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I also want to let everybody know that the subscriber mode has been enabled. What does that mean? That means if you're not a subscriber and if you wish to enter a comment in the chat, you need to subscribe to the channel. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to all those who have already subscribed to the channel, whether you have subscribed from the beginning or just recently. I truly appreciate all the love and support all of you have given me over the last 2 years. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media. And I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who allow me to enter into their devices. So, what I'm going to ask you to do is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask you to please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So, therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Um, Before we get into the topic, which is Labor Day, and then there's a reason behind this holiday, which for many it is the unofficial ending of summer, we're going to have another episode of In My Words. Okay. There's still been a lot of chatter regarding Fresh and Fit being demonetized. Okay. Now, just recently, they aired a video which still was questioning why were they being punished. Okay. And they appeared to be looking like they were clueless. Um, First of all, I'm just going to give you my opinion, and it's my opinion. You don't have to agree to it or what have you. But when you allow a racist like Nick Fuentes onto your platform to say bigoted remarks, when you go on making disparaging remarks regarding African Americans, calling them monkeys, when you go around making sounds like an ape and talking gibberish, when you devote most of your time to buffoonery, sooner or later there's going to be consequences involved. Okay. Now I said this on one of my most recent streams, and I'm going to say it again. Okay. I don't have a problem with YouTube, um, you know, taking away the privileges of people to make money off of YouTube, as long as they do it across the board to everyone that's guilty. Okay. What it appears to be, there seems to be somewhat of a double standard. There seem to be certain YouTube creators that can get away with saying some of the most vile rhetoric, and because it's meant towards men or certain groups, it's okay. But when Fresh and Fit do the same thing, that's a problem. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not excusing the actions of Fresh and Fit. What I'm saying is the following. The guidelines that YouTube have established, they need to um, administer it across the board equally. Okay. Now, also, and this is something that it was brought about earlier today from Medical Latino when he did his video regarding the topic. It is a sad commentary that the audience would prefer to watch buffoonery than to watch quality content. Okay. I'm going to give you a perfect example in my own stream. I had one stream where the title was called Most of the Games. Unfortunately, towards the middle of the stream, things started to go haywire. Okay, and unfortunately, that stream has gotten 500 views. Okay, this illustrates my point. Okay, uh, and it's sad. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a brief break and intermission, and I'll be right back. Just bear with me. Sorry about that. I just had to take a quick break. Good evening, Gigi. Thank you very much for stopping by. Okay. So I said it before, and I'll say it again. You know, people have the right to govern what they say on their platforms, and you have the right to enforce these rules. but let's keep it equitable across the board. Number one, okay. Number two, I couldn't help but take a look and chuckle regarding our friend from Canada getting spazzing out over Grand Marchand, okay, for whatever reasons regarding his accusations and things of that nature. The only thing I'm going to say to this, and this is going to be a message to Hybrid the sheriff, or Hybrid the hero, or Hybrid the vanquisher, or Hybrid the healer, or whatever the fluff you want to call himself. With all due respect, sir, do yourself a favor, get yourself some therapy, and get off of YouTube. Okay? But it's going to be laughable. Now, excuse me, my computer is acting up. Okay, so what we're going to do is, just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. We're going to get into the main topic. Okay. So as you can see by the thumbnail, the topic for tonight is what is Labor Day. Okay. Now I know that for quite a few people, many people, Labor Day is the unofficial end of summer. Okay. So that's basically people's last opportunity to go to the beach or go to the swimming pool or go to the park and things of that nature. However, there is a more important meaning in regards to Labor Day, which is to honor the unsung heroes that we have today. The working men and women. Yes, working men and women, okay? Because look, well, this country has produced many leaders, okay, many pioneers as well as that nature. However, they could not do so without the combined efforts of hardworking men and women, okay? And we must remember that a lot of the rights that we enjoy as workers, such as a 35-hour work week, vacation time, sick time, pensions, due process, opportunities for promotion. That was acquired through the sweat and tears of labor leaders. Some of them actually gave their lives in order for us to enjoy the rights that we have as working men and women. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief story before I start to share some of my information. This was with one of my committee meetings with my union, and I was talking about some of the benefits that we have now enjoyed thanks to unions. Okay, some people may not look to unions in a positive light. Nevertheless, thanks to the unions, we have many of these rights that we enjoy today. So one of the things I was talking about was medical college, okay, which is very important, particularly as you get older, and then you develop more medical problems. So the fact that thanks to unions and thanks to labor, we have healthcare. So this one person actually stated that we should pay high premiums if it means that we get bigger raises. And when I heard that, it's like I could not believe that. I could not believe, that this person does not know what he's talking about. Okay, because the problem is this: once you start paying high premiums for labors for medical care, it doesn't go away. It gets more expensive, and in fact, medicine can be very expensive nowadays. Okay, particularly if you're dealing with issues like cancer, diabetes, and other serious health conditions. So we had to educate this young person regarding such thing as quality medical care and how this person did not take advantage of his medical benefits. Well, God bless him if you're healthy. Okay, if you're like me that has like multiple health issues, you're thankful that you have medical coverage. So that being said, what I'm going to do is, well, before I continue, the link has been pinned should anyone wishes to join the panel. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Uh, okay. Let's define what is Labor Day. Okay. Labor Day is a federal holiday in the United States celebrated on the first Monday in September to honor and recognize the American labor movement and the works and contribution of laborers to the development and achievement of the United States. The 3-day weekend it falls on is called Labor Day weekend. Excuse me, I'm just thirsty. Beginning in the late 19th century, as the trade union and labor movements grew, trade unions proposed that a day be set aside to celebrate labor. Day was promoted by the Central Labor Union and the Knights of Labor, which organized the first parade in New York City. In 1887, Oregon became the first state of the United States to make an official public holiday. By the time it became an official federal holiday in 1894, 30 states in the U.S. officially celebrated Labor Day. Okay. But let's go into the origin. Beginning in the late 19th century, as trade unions and labor movements grew, diverse groups of trade unionists chose a variety of days on which to celebrate labor. In the United States, a September holiday called Labor Day was first proposed in the early 1880s. Alternate accounts of the event origin exist. Descendants of two men with similar last names claim their great grandfather was the true father of the holiday. According to one early history of Labor Day, the event originated in connection with a General Assembly of the Knights of Labor convened in New York in September 1882. In conjunction with the clandestine Knights Assembly, a public parade of various labor organizations was held on September 5th under the auspices of the Central Labor Union of New York. Secretary of the CLU, Matthew McGuire, is credited for first proposing that a national Labor Day holiday subsequently be held on the first Monday of each September in the aftermath of the successful public demonstration. Okay. An alternative theory maintains that the idea of Labor Day was the brainchild of Pierre J. McGuire, a vice president of the American Federation of Labor, who, after a visit to Toronto where he saw parades celebrating labor that May, had put the initial proposal in the spring of 1882. According to McGuire, on May 8, 1882, he made a proposition to the fledgling Central Labor Union in New York that a day be set aside for a general holiday for laboring classes. According to McGuire, he further recommended that the event should be begin with a street parade as a public demonstration of organized labor solidarity and strength, with the march followed by a picnic to which participating union local unions could sell tickets as a fundraiser. According to McGuire, he suggested the first Monday in September as an ideal day for such a public celebration owing to the optimal weather and the day's place on the calendar sitting midway between the 4th of July and Thanksgiving public holidays. Labor Day picnics and other public gatherings frequently features speeches by prominent labor leaders. In 1909, the American Federation of Labor Convention designated Sundays preceding Labor Day as Labor Sunday to be dedicated to the spiritual and educational aspects of the labor movement. The Secretary date failed to gain significant traction in popular culture, though some churches continue to acknowledge it. Excuse me. Now we're going to talk about the labor legal recognition. The popularity of the event spread across the country. In 1887, Oregon became the first state of the United States to make Labor Day an official public holiday. By 1894, 30 U.S. states already publicly celebrating Labor Day. In that year, Congress passed a bill recognizing the first Monday of September as Labor Day and making it an official federal holiday. President Grover Cleveland signed the bill into law on June 8th. The federal law, however, only made it a holiday for federal workers. As late as the 1930s, unions were encouraging workers to strike to make sure they get the day off. All U.S. states, the District of Columbia, and the United States territories have subsequently made Labor Day a statutory holiday. Labor Day became a federal holiday after the Pullman strike. Okay. So this is interesting, I think interesting information. Okay. Let's see. The day on May 1st, an ancient European folk holiday known as May Day, emerged in 1886 as an alternative holiday for the celebration of labor, later becoming the International Workers' Day. The day had its origins at the 1885 convention of the American Federation of Labor, which passed a resolution calling for an adoption of the 8-hour work day effective May 1st, 1886. While negotiating was envisioned for an achievement of the shortened workday, use of the strike to enforce the demand was recognized, with May 1st as advocated as a day of coordinated strike action. The proximity to the date to the bloody Haymarket affair of May 4th, 1886 further accentuated May 1st's radical reputation. There was disagreement among labor unions at the time about when labor's holiday celebrating workers should be, with some advocating continued emphasis on the September March and Picnic Day, while others sought the destination of more politically charged day of May 1st. Conservative Democrat President Grover Cleveland was one of those concerned that the labor holiday on May 1st would tend to become a commemoration of the Haymarket Affair and would strengthen socialist and anarchist movements that backed the May 1st commemoration among the day. In 1887, he publicly supported September Labor Day holiday as the less inflammatory alternative, formally adopting the day as the United States federal holiday through a law they signed in 1894. So, in the mid-1950s, the United States had celebrated Loyalty Day and Law Day on May 1st. Unlike Labor Day, neither were legal public holidays in the government agency, and most businesses did not shut down to celebrate and therefore have remained relatively obscure. Nority Day was observed in a few cities, while some bar associations hold Law Day to celebrate the rule of law. Now, this is where it gets to the part when it talks about the unofficial end of summer. Labor Day is called the unofficial end of summer because it marks the end of a cultural summer season. Many take their 2 week vacations during the 2 weeks ending Labor Day weekend. Many for activities such as school and sports, particularly football, begin about this time. In the United States, many school districts resume classes around Labor Day holiday weekend, see first day of school. Some begin the week before, making Labor Day weekend the first 3-day weekend of the school calendar, where others returning Tuesday following Labor Day. Many districts across the Midwest are opted to begin school after Labor Day. In the U.S. state of Virginia, amusement park industry was successfully lobbied for legislation requiring most school districts in the state to have the first day of school after Labor Day in order to give families another weekend to visit amusement parks in the state. The relevant statute has been nicknamed the King Dominion's Law after one such park. The law was repealed in 2019. In the U.S. state of Minnesota, the state fair ends on Labor Day. Under state law, public schools normally do not begin until after the holiday. One reason they give this time is to allow the school children to show 4-H projects at the fair. In U.S. sports, Labor Day weekend marks the beginning of many fall sports. National Collegiate Association, Athletic Association teams usually play their first games that weekend, and the National Football League usually play their kickoff game the Thursday following Labor Day. The Southern 500 NASCAR auto race has been held on Labor Day weekend at Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina from 1950 to 2003 and since 2015. At Indianapolis Raceway Park, the National Hot Rod Association holds its final of the NHRA U.S. Nationals Draft race that weekend. Labor Day is the midpoint between one of the two U.S. Tennis Open Championships out in Flushing, New York. So, of course, when it comes to holidays, there's also sales. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So let's just give you an idea regarding Labor Day, okay? And it's a lot of, and this has some important meanings to it. Excuse me, I'm just going to get something to drink. One thing, among many of the things that we have to bear in mind is that there was once a time where there was not an 8-hour workday. There was once a time where there were not laws to protect women from being harassed sexually or otherwise. At one time, children was forced to work and do dangerous jobs. Okay, there was once a time where laborers did not receive an equitable wage. Okay, and there was once a time that basically your employer could fire you on the spot simply because they didn't like you. Okay? So, and of course, with every with every all these benefits that we have, there's a lot of struggle involved. Okay, and unfortunately, there have been people that have paid the ultimate price and died for the rights that we have. Okay, and of course, there always been attempt to ridicule the working man, to belittle what the working person do. Okay, to not value the achievements of men and women who work every day. Okay. Nevertheless, because all these rights and all we have is through struggle. Okay. The reality is this: we were not given these privileges. We were not given these rights um, just to be nice. There was the product of a great deal of negotiation. There was the product of give and take. There was the product of strikes. And sometimes those strikes were violent. And sometimes people died. Okay. So there's nothing, so no, it's nothing wrong with spending Labor Day going to the beach, going to the park, going to the swimming pool. There's nothing wrong with dealing with going to Labor Day sales and things of that nature. But we must never forget for one moment um, the fact that all these things we achieve is through the backs of labor. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just give me a moment. I'm going to share something else. I'm not going to share my computer. Just give me a moment. Okay, so just give me a moment. Now I'm going to share with you, oops, regarding the history of Labor Day, which I actually obtained from the U.S. Department of Labor website. Of course, already know that it is observed the first Monday of September and is a annual celebration of social and economic achievements of American workers. The holiday is rooted in the late 19th century, which labor activists pushed for a federal holiday to recognize many contributions workers have made to America's strength, prosperity, and well-being. And just as something to bear in mind, the Saturday after Labor Day, that's when we have the Labor Day parade. That's when all the unions march up Fifth Avenue to demonstrate their pride. And it's a day for solidarity. It's a day to show our pride and to honor the achievement of unions and about regarding the rights that they've given us. Of course, as I stated earlier, it was recognized in many states before it became a national holiday. And of course, there's always been some debate regarding who is the founder of Labor Day. Okay, I'm just going to read to you that portion. Okay. Who first proposed the holiday for workers? It's not entirely clear, but two workers can make a solid claim for the founding of the Labor Day title. Some records show that in 1882, Peter J. McGuire, General Secretary of the Brotherhood of Carpenters and Joiners, and a co-founder of the American Federation of Labor, suggested setting aside a day for general holiday for labor classes to honor those who from rude nature have derived and called all the grandeur we behold. But Peter McGuire's place in Labor Day history has not gone unchallenged. Many believe that machinist Matthew McGuire, not Peter McGuire, founded the holiday. Recent research seems to support the recognition that Matthew McGuire, later the secretary of Local 344 of the International Association of Machinists in Paterson, New Jersey, proposed the holiday in 1882 while serving as secretary of the Central Labor Union in New York. According to the New York Jersey Historical Society, after President Cleveland signed the law creating a National Labor Day, the Paterson Morning Call published an opinion piece that stated the souvenir pen should go to Alderman Matthew McGuire of the city, who is the undisputed author of Labor Day as a holiday. Both McGuire and McGuire attended the country's first Labor Day parade in New York City that year. Now, as I stated, it is observed as a national holiday. Many Americans celebrate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and parties, festivities very similar to those outlined by the first proposal for a holiday, which suggested that the day should be observed with a street parade to exhibit the strength and spirit of the core of the trade and labor organizations of the community, followed by a festival for the recreation and amusement of the workers and their families. This became a pattern of celebration for Labor Day. Speeches by prominent men and women were introduced later as more emphasis was placed upon the economic and civil significance of the holiday. Still later, a resolution by the American Federation of Labor Convention of 1909, Sundays preceding Labor Day, was adopted as Labor Sunday and dedicated to the spiritual and educational aspects of the labor movement. American labor has raised the nation's standard of living and contributed to the greatest production of the world has ever known, and the labor has brought us closer to realization of our traditional ideas of economic and political democracy. It is appropriate, therefore, that the nation pays tribute on Labor Day to the creators of so much of the nation's strength, freedom, and leadership, the American worker. Okay, so I'm just going to walk in here. So as you can see here, Labor Day is more than just a day to go to the beach, to go to the pool. It's more than just going to parades. It is to recognize the achievement of the American worker, which is both male and female. Now, what I'm going to do is, being that there's not too much activity tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to wrap this up. Before I do, I'm going to be talking about what's going to be, excuse me, just give me a moment. topic for tomorrow's stream. Okay. And the topic will be, who are the divestors? Now, we have heard a great deal regarding these people. And basically, divestors, they are individuals that, for whatever reason, whether it be psychological or otherwise, they have chosen not to date within their own ethnic group, but to date outside. Okay. So what we're going to do tomorrow at 8 o'clock, we're going to have a discussion regarding these people. Okay. What makes them tick and what motivates them to date outside their ethnic group? Now, let me just state for the record, okay, that individuals can do, excuse me, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. So, my approach is going to be not, it's not going to be to criticize these people for dating outside their group. No. Okay. My discussion is going to be the why. Okay. And some people have legitimate reasons to do so. We're not going to be going into a judgment call, whether it's right or wrong or whatever. What we're going to do here is we're going to have a mature conversation and try to find out what makes them tick, why they choose to date outside their ethnic group. And again, let me make this perfectly clear. People can date whoever they want. Okay, that's not the problem. Okay, the only thing the problem that I see is that when you trash the opposite gender of your ethnic group, okay, that's where the problem is. And there's no need for it. Okay, and of course, as to keep it completely open, I was married to someone that was born outside of the United States. Okay, I was married to a Dominican. It unfortunately did not work out. However, I did not trash American women because I was married to someone that was born and raised outside the United States. It's just I followed up with someone that's from the DR. And unfortunately it didn't work out. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna have a mature conversation. We're not gonna point the finger. We're not gonna blame. We're not gonna say any disparaging remarks. We're just gonna have a discussion on the why. Okay. Now next Monday, it's going to be a special event here of Uncommon Sense. Because one thing I mentioned earlier, that I'm going to be doing another interview. And actually, next Monday, I'm going to interview the beautiful, the charming, the gracious Xtina of Xtina. Yeah, they're out with Xtina. Okay. So it's going to be her first time actually being on the panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to interview her and I'm going to ask her some questions. Okay. Basic questions like, how was your childhood? Where you were born? What prompted you to, with your platforms? What's been your happier moments? What's been your challenges and things of that nature? Okay. If any of you recall when I interviewed Denise Gonzalez, those are the type of questions I asked her. So basically, I'm going to be asking similar types of questions to Christina. Okay. And of course, the audience will have the opportunity to ask her any questions as well. However, and I say however, I'm going to state it and I'm going to state it again. Please be respectable. Okay? Because unfortunately, the reality is this: whenever you see a beautiful, charming young lady appear on the platform, some of these, and I'm going to use the term loosely, gentlemen, they lose it and then they get thirsty and they don't know how to act in front of a young, beautiful, charming young lady. So I'm just going to make it perfectly clear. This is not Bumble. This is not Tumblr. Okay? This is not a dating show. This is not a dating website. This is a channel for open discussion. And as a channel for open discussion, people can say whatever they want as long as they keep it respectable. People who refuse to do so, guess what? You will be booted and you will not be welcome back. It is that simple. Okay. So I will be continue to announce this situation with the interview during this week. Also, I'm going to be doing another late night stream. I don't know if I'm going to do it late Friday night or late Saturday night. I will let you know um, tomorrow. Okay. But being that it did go pretty well, the fact that we had a late night stream, I think we're going to do it once a week. Okay. And in any case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop to wrap this up. Most likely, most of the people are going to catch this on the playback. And as always, you're more than welcome to share your comments after the stream is over. All that I ask is, people, let's keep it respectful, please. Okay? And it was my pleasure to share my information with all of you, whether it be live or whether it be from the playback. Okay, so I'm going to end this. Oh, good evening, Irby. Thank you very much. Actually, the topic was what is Labor Day. So basically, what I did was I just shared some information regarding Labor Day, regarding its meeting and how it got started. And of course, I had to share a little ish regarding a friend from Canada and his latest emotional tirade with Grand Machan. Okay. Well, you know what? You can always catch it on. You can always catch it on the playback. Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean, look. If you look, I don't know what is his issue with. He's hybrid to share it, but it seems to be going on and on and on, writing these long community posts regarding Grand Machan and what have you. Apparently, Grand Machan is living rent free in Hybrid's twisted mind for whatever reason. Yep, that's the circus. And it seems like not only he has his sights on Grand Machan, but he also has his sights on our friend AMR. Why? Your guess is about as good as mine. But in any case, it was a pleasure to share my information with all of you. We'll be on back on tomorrow. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna be looking forward to that, and I'm gonna be looking forward to the tea. Okay. I know you and Multi do such a great job when it comes to your podcast. Okay. And of course, I did talk a little bit regarding Fresh and Fit being demonetized, and then they don't know why. You know what? I have said all I'm gonna say on the subject. Hopefully, um, yeah, I can't wait for it either. So hopefully, maybe they'll think about it. But it is it is how ironic that seems like those channels that have a lot of wretchedness, people fighting, cursing, they always seem to do well. I say always. However, um, you know, if you live by the wretchedly, you die by wretchedly. So I would rather just try to be the best version of myself. So that being said, I'm gonna wrap this up by saying these words. We must do everything possible to avoid contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. Okay, let me just read this comment. Yep, yeah, all I can say, Gigi, I'm glad it's not me. Okay, I'm glad it's not me. That's all I'm going to say on this subject. I'm glad it's not me. But in any case, oh, early. Okay. Well, in any case, oops, let me just hide this. So we must do everything we can to minimize our contact with the mentally and intellectual challenge, because if we fail to do so, we'll be infected by the stupidity and massive insanity. Uh, Let me just read this final comment. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think our friend from Canada has a straitjacket in his future. Well, and that being the case, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Wishing everyone you a good night. Take care and peace. Be strong. Strong.